So why would you as a scientist even write a magazine article? You're pretty busy already trying to get yourself out into the peer-reviewed press. But there are a whole set of audiences, again, that you're not probably reaching. And if you think about research these days, research funding and research policy and what's going on around the world, there's some really important audiences that if they see your research, it could make a difference for you in the long run, actually, in terms of funding, right? Whether those are your policymakers on Capitol Hill or someone in another country or state, whoever those people are, if the more people know about your research, the more likely you are in the long run to be successfully funded and have it be valued by society. So as you think about writing for a magazine, think about the impact you would like to make in the world beyond what I'll call the ivory tower, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way because peer-reviewed research is extremely important. But to reach people who are not in those professional circles in academia. And so you're going to reach people in a different way by writing a magazine article. When you reach your peers, again, you're sort of telling them how you're doing something cutting edge relative to the whole history of the field. When you reach other people, you're telling them how you're doing something that's relevant to our life today. So it's a very different tone and what we're going to call a spin, which I'll talk about in a second. You're going to connect your research with things that are familiar to people, because if you come right out of the gate talking about neuronal circuitry and somebody hasn't ever studied biology, you're going to lose them. So you're going to come out of the gate trying to find some familiar context. Maybe that is how our brains work, what we think about, and use that as a way to then narrow into your specialization. And so you'll find a spin for your research. And you're not going to use that spin in a peer-reviewed journal article. It would be embarrassing and weird to put a spin in that. If you came out of the gate in your journal article talking about, well, how do we think and what are our thoughts as we dream it? It's not really what they're looking for, right? They want to see you in a journal article using the professional language of your field in an appropriate manner and showing that you understand the whole research context in your field. If you use that professional language of your field in the journal article for your spin, people might not know what you're talking about. It may look like jargon, and again, you may lose them. So it's a very different product, but by writing it, you're going to have a chance to perhaps see your research in a way you haven't before, right? We're always thinking about why our research is important, and we have to justify it if we go out for a grant with NSF or whoever. But that justification is about why is my research important in the context of the research that has been done before. It's not always, why is my research important to them, to those people who are non-scientists, to those policymakers? Why should they care about my research? So through the process of you finding your magazine article spin, you're also going to be learning something about your research. It actually is going to help you come up with what is called the elevator pitch, right? And if somebody says to you at a cocktail party, what do you study? The answer that you give is short and they understand it. So I think it's really valuable in that way for what you'll learn from the process too.